Today, I'm in Bakewell in Derbyshire at the Bakewell Bakery, and my guest today is Jemma.
Hi.
Tell me, Jemma, how on earth did you end up owning such a wonderful place?
Gosh, it's a story. It dates back a few years for me. I am a Bakewell born girl, so this is my hometown, and I'm very proud of that. And I went to school in Bakewell, all three, so infants, juniors, Lady Manners as a senior school. And from there I left not really knowing what my path would be or where I would go. And I'd taken up a few jobs, little bits here. I'd been to college and done hairdressing. I knew that wasn't for me. My mum was a hairdresser, so I tried to follow in her footsteps, and definitely not my forte. And then, from there I went and worked abroad for a period of time in hospitality, just sort of bouncing around, and realised actually I'm quite good at this. Came home intending to earn some money quickly and go and do a ski season abroad. And then I got a job actually at the Red Lion in Bakewell.
Oh, right.
That was just waiting tables, working behind the bar, doing a bit of cleaning, and I was only 18. And a lady used to come in with her partner of an evening, have a quick drink after work, and then go home.
Mm-hmm.
I got a relationship with this lady called Jill Salmon. She was a wonderful woman. And she poached me. She was the general manager of the old original Bakewell Pudding Shop. And I remember having a conversation with her. She said, "I think you're fabulous. You've got something you don't know." So off I went to work for Jill for a little pay rise. Wouldn't have to work evenings. It was daytimes only. And that's where my story began. She really invested in me as a person. She saw something I didn't know I had. And that's where my management journey started. And I worked for Jill for a few years. And I really learned her ability to work with people and how a team is better than working alone, especially in this environment. And then from there, I had another person who bought the original Bakewell Pudding Shop called Christine Holland, another huge woman in my life who I learned a lot from. She was full of inspiration, and I really learned a lot from her. And from there, Nick bought the business, and we have grown into what we are today. So from the original Bakewell Pudding Shop to, we own 5 pubs, 5 holiday lets, the original Bakewell Pudding Shop, a little tea rooms called the Derbyshire Emporium, and the business that is the Bakewell Bakery.
I did not know about your tea room. We'll talk about that later. That's an amazing story, isn't it? And the fact that you're back to where you started, really, back into your roots, which is a big thing, isn't it? And how you can kind of weave that passion into your business.
Well, I didn't even know when I left school what the passion was. I didn't understand, I think, from there that you could but be guided into a path of business ownership or business management. Find a passion doing something for a job along the way, i.e. tourism, bakery, cooking, produce, local people producing that produce. All these are huge passions of mine.
So tell me about this recipe that you are the custodian of.
Yes, so that was passed down from person to person. So when I first started at the pudding shop, closely guarded secret, it was in a fireproof safe at the owner of the time's home. And I'd never seen it. When I worked there and it was owned by the previous owners, I'd never seen the book and I'd never seen the recipe. And it was on certain things, as you can see behind us.
Yes.
That is a kind of recipe. You can make a very good Bakewell pudding.
It won't be exactly the same.
Because
you're not going to give that secret away completely.
Why would we? Exactly. And it's the method that goes into it actually is quite unique, and the way that we produce it, still to this day by hand. So I'd never seen it, and then the business was sold to the previous owners, and they showed me the book, and I couldn't believe it. I was so intrigued as to how the pages looked, and the things of how the writing was, how script it was, and really difficult to read. The weights and measures, how they'd worded things, no lines on the papers because of the age of the paper, etc. And from there the book then was handed on again to the next owners, and it's a closely guarded secret, and I love that. I love that part of the business, that mystery, that history that goes with it.
Yeah, it's a great story. And when was that original recipe created? Do you have an idea?
We don't have the exact date. 1860-ish. Wow. We have around. So yeah, we actually had some celebrities come to the pudding shop. They were doing a local, a thing for television to do with history, and we had a food historian come.
Yes, yeah.
And I think there are dates now found that predate our recipe, but they're all extremely similar. Obviously, everybody was working on a similar thing at a similar time. So, I think it's just it's great for the local area, isn't it?
Absolutely. So for those people that don't know what a Bakewell pudding is, how is that different to a Bakewell tart?
Okay, so the pudding is made with puff pastry, which is layer upon layer of pastry, butter, and then that is flattened and pressed together to make the puff as it bakes. We use a method where we push all the air out of that so it doesn't rise in the middle, it stays flat. In the middle of that is eggs, almonds, sugar and butter. That's made into a custard type of centre on a strawberry jam base, poured on top.
Strawberry jam, not raspberry.
Never been raspberry with us.
I always thought it was raspberry.
No, it's strawberry.
My gosh.
Yes,
something.
Yeah, all Bakewells are strawberry. Yeah, Bakewell pudding.
Wow.
Yeah.
And there's a story about how Bakewell pudding came into being, isn't there?
Yes.
Do you want to share that?
Yeah,
with those
absolutely. Yeah. So in Bakewell, right in the centre, there is the Rutland Arms Hotel, and that used to be called the White Horse Inn. The lady who baked there was making a dessert for passing noblemen. They were booked in to come, and she made a mistake with the recipe, and born was this Bakewell pudding, so she called it. And she served it because she thought, I've got nothing else, I'm going to have to cope. And gave it to them. They absolutely loved it. So the lady at the time who was living at the Bakewell Pudding Shop, obviously it wasn't then, her husband was a candlestick maker in the premises, Mrs. Wilson. The legend or the story goes that they were friends and they passed on the recipe to her. But yeah, Bourne was the original Bakewell Pudding Shop. She was, and I love the fact she was a woman.
Yes.
I love the
it's
fact.
Such a great story,
I know.
Isn't it?
And back then in the 1860s, she thought, I know, I can make this shop work.
Yeah.
I can do this. And she opened it as that. I think it's fantastic.
To be that entrepreneurial at a time when women were kind of at the kitchen sink and not
Yes.
really doing very much in business.
Yeah.
It's really
She was at the forefront, wasn't she?
Yeah. Fantastic.
Yeah.
So, have you had any challenges whilst owning the business?
Gosh, have we? Lots and lots and lots. Yeah, COVID been the biggest ever, obviously. That was
impacted a lot of people, didn't it?
It did. It was a huge challenge.
How did you cope? How did you...
We were really innovative. We literally, what do we do? How do we continue? How do we not stop doing what we're doing? And after the initial shock of the closure, we went to get our heads together separately on Zoom, obviously, everybody talking, what do we do? And someone had approached us and said, are you going to do afternoon teas locally? Oh, that's a good idea. So we'd already got the website set up. We were already doing online sales for Bakewell pudding and Bakewell tarts. And we launched a Bakewell afternoon tea locally to be delivered locally. And it was VE Day just before, and we pressed the go and thought, right, we'll see what happens. And I remember getting up the following morning to check sort of what's happened, and we had to turn it off because it had gone crazy. And we're thinking, how are we going to do this? So we had to bring some staff back off furlough. Luckily, we have quite a few venues in Bakewell, so we had someone making sandwiches at one location, someone packing scones at another location. And it worked really well. It was brilliant. It was so successful. Our online sales went through the roof because people were so supportive. They wanted that little bit of home, that little thing that they were missing, that was nostalgia. They'd been to Bakewell with their families, good memories. So actually, although the shop was closed, we were busy doing alternative things. And we've never really gone back from that. The online sales now are still matching what they were then. We've sort of continued on that path. And the bakery never closed. You know how difficult it was to get bread.
Yes,
We went to 24-hour bread production. We were driving all over trying to find flour because the flour mills couldn't mill it quick enough. The guys here, they were social distancing. They were making bread day and night. And everyone else was at home on furlough. And, credit where credit's due. They worked incredibly hard under extreme circumstances, situation. They were an absolute credit to us.
How long has the bakery actually been here?
So we came, well, we're actually in a different building to what we originally started.
Right, yeah.
We were next door to this, and we came here in 2011 in a purpose-built building, a bakery.
Right.
We'd never built a bakery before.
Yeah.
And yeah, that was a learning curve. And we thought we'd be in that building forever, you know, that would be big enough. We were thinking at the time, gosh, how are we going to fill this space? We had, we employed extra people, we got extra vans on the road, and we grew into that building. And before long, we were bursting at the seams, turning business away. So this building, we were on a demolition plan because of the expansion of the industrial estate that we were on. And we got the opportunity to move into better premises, better for the staff, better systems, better processes, a better baking environment for everybody, and just a genuinely better working environment for everybody. And again, so we've been here nearly 2 years now, and again we're expanding. So
yes, I did notice next door.
Yeah, next door. Yeah, we're going into next
bigger.
door. It is. Yeah, which is a great success for us. You know, it's great for the area, and we're really passionate about what we do. And the oat cake business, the Derbyshire oat cake that we produce, is one area of the business that we've seen huge growth. So that also will go into the expansion.
Yeah, that's. I actually did a little bit of a factory tour last week, and there is an Instagram all about that experience. So that was great. So going back to COVID and those tougher times,
yes.
Where did your resilience come from?
I am one half of a man and wife team, so we work extremely well together, and I find strength in that he has my back and I have his, and I think that is really important to what we've achieved. You know, I would hate to say I'd done any of this on my own. I certainly haven't. And the resilience in COVID also came that we've got so many staff and people who relied on us. You know, we pay a lot of wages, and that was so important to us that everybody came out of that healthy, well looked after. And as a business, we came out and said, you know, we will be boisterous again. We will all work again. We will all continue. And that was a huge passion of ours. Even to the point I was interviewed by one of the national television channels on the news saying, you know, how do you feel about tourism coming back to Bakewell? And for me, I was desperate for tourism to come back to Bakewell because that's what our business is. But also I was really conscious that the residents live here and that's their home. And we all knew that travel was wrong and it wasn't right to be moving around at that point. And I went on national television and said, you know, please don't come to Bakewell. Don't break the rules. And although that was really what our business needed, I was really conscious that we have a responsibility to the town and to the people who live here all the time. And, you know, that was really important to me also, that we didn't just go, listen, with Original Bakewell Pudding Shop, we know we're a big pull. We know that people come to visit us. I didn't want to use that for our benefit. I wanted it to be respectful.
Yeah. And I suppose at the end of the day, you and your entire team live in the town.
Yeah, locally.
So it needs to be...
It's a balance.
Yes, yeah. You need to tread carefully, don't you? Get that balance right, So what's your favourite part of the business?
The people, always. And that's not just the team, that's not just everybody who works for us, because actually I do love them all. I do. They all mean something to me. And I take it really personally if someone feels like something hasn't gone well or they haven't been treated particularly well. You know, that means something to me. But the people that walk through the door, the people who want to know about the Bakewell pudding, about the bread that we serve, the people who've made that bread, you know, all that whole story that goes with it, that's the most important bit. That's the driving force for me. Yeah.
So how many lines of product do you have? Do you know?
Oh gosh, no, I don't. There's too many. There's so many. I mean, it's in the hundreds.
Yeah. So did it start just the puddings? How did you get to this point?
So the bakery was a small little bakery on the back of the Bakewell Pudding Shop that had been there, obviously since day dot. And we used to have one little van that went out locally with scones, tea cakes, some bread rolls, a few loaves, just little tea rooms and shops around Bakewell. And my husband decided 2007, 2008, I think there's growth in this. We only had one baker, 2 at a weekend, and we started to invest in that side of the business. And then 2011 we decided we'll close that area down, we'll move into a purpose-built bakery, and we'll extend the retail into the bakery that was on the back of the pudding shop. And that's what we did. And not with any real clear vision of where do we go. We've just sort of grown into and learnt as we've gone, you know, do we need an extra van? Do we need some more employees? And as you grow, you learn. And I think there's so many resources in what we do. You know, we rely heavily on, that was the Food and Drink Forum, that's not around anymore. But there's lots of resources that actually really help. And the more you invest in those people around you, the better you get. So we do a lot of courses, we do a lot of staff investment, a lot of management investment to make sure that everybody's comfortable and moving forward. We are growing as a company.
So not just growing in size, but growing in expertise and skill level, so that you can sustain a larger business.
Yes.
I know a lot of people looking at this podcast will be thinking, well, you know, I'm just a little baker at home, or I'm making jewellery, and you know what you're doing is like whoosh.
Yeah, but it wasn't.
But how many years has it taken you to get?
So really from 2006, really from the moment that we decided there was an expansion plan. But you know that's
all 20
takes,
years.
Yeah, exactly. That takes time, doesn't it? It all takes time.
Yeah,
it all
absolutely.
takes. There's small steps, and also COVID steps backwards. There are things that happen.
But did you find that COVID, although it was, like you say, a step back and it was stressful at the time, and obviously the resilience had to come through in that it actually propelled you on a level?
I think it changed who we are as people. I think it changed who we are as business owners, and I think only for the better. I think it made us more aware of who we employ and what their needs were.
So more of a personal
people issue
rather than a business one.
And also that the business, although the business is the most important thing, it pays everybody. But actually, how do the people feel underneath that umbrella? And their well-being and their mental health is just as important as how we feel when we leave at the end of the day. You know, those things changed for us as a business.
So have we got a pudding we can have a look at? Is this one here?
That is a pudding, yes.
It is a pudding.
Yeah.
Oh, it's quite heavy.
They are heavy, actually.
Quite heavy. All the way around here is the pastry.
Yes.
It's puff pastry.
It is puff pastry.
And then you've got strawberry jam.
Yes.
And this
eggs,
eggy.
almond, sugar and butter.
Is
no
it quite
flour.
No
flour.
flour. Was that the thing that was missing from the recipe?
Yes, well, we do wonder if that is what she did. Was she making a cake? Was it meant to be a cake topping, you know, like a flanny? Well, no one's really, I mean, there is no written down what was she expecting to achieve. But maybe flour makes sense, doesn't it? That it
but this is quite sweet, isn't it?
It's very sweet.
Yeah, so it's really for those with a sweet tooth.
Yes, absolutely.
Okay, I'll look at that in a moment then. Thank you. So what's next?
Yeah, the expansion is next for us. So the bakery expansion, we're due to get the keys to the new building next door June 26, and that will increase not only our space, but we'll be able to employ more people. It'll give us some more employment in the area. And although we want to increase productivity and turnover, we also want to improve the processes that we're doing that makes it better for everyone else. So a bit more space to actually just spread a little bit out. We're so busy that we do feel sometimes we're a little on top of each other, and that's not always a nice working environment. We're trying to be a bit more sustainable. So what can we do with the heat sources that we use? So the ovens are on more or less 24 hours a day. You can imagine how much heat they generate.
Yeah. Good in the winter, not so good in the hot weather.
Absolutely, yeah, that's exactly it. And it's such a waste of energy. You know, that could be used to make hot water. So we're looking at being a little bit more sustainable and what we can do to use that power. And then packaging, again, trying to be a little bit more sustainable on packaging. How can we cut down on the plastics that we use? We already recycle. We do food recycling and packaging recycling. But it's always good to be looking to the future, isn't it? And what does that look like for us? Yeah.
So where are you going to be in 5 years, as they say in an interview?
Wow, gosh, I hope we are. I'd be happy with the expansion and slowly growing. My husband was like, we don't want to be huge, or although we are probably quite big. Just doing it well. I just want to be doing it all well. I don't want to rush. like I said, 20 years is a long time, isn't it? But that's good. That's good growth. That's doing it slowly but consistently, and being true to what we are and who we are as people.
Yeah, and doing it sustainably, both from a growth point of view and from a an environmental point of view as well. That sounds wonderful. How many vans do you have now? I've seen them driving around.
Nine, yeah. We have a real big now geographical area that we deliver to.
Tell me about Bakewell Pudding Day.
Yes, so Bakewell Pudding Day. Everything seems to have a day, doesn't it?
It does.
So we thought, why not? Why doesn't it have its day? It's so popular and it's such a good story. And yeah, I think it deserves it. I think it feels fitting. So yeah, 12th of March.
I would say the first one is this year on the 12th of March.
Yep.
What have you got planned for that
So
day?
there seems to be all sorts of things going on. We're still in the very much meeting stage and getting things set in stone. But there'll be definitely, hopefully, news crews and local things, people coming to see us, talking about the pudding. And it's all about awareness, isn't it? What do we have on offer? What do people come to Bakewell for? What do they want to get from us? And I like the feedback. Talk to me, tell me. You know, what are you thinking about? Why would you want to come to the Bakewell Pudding Shop? What makes it so special? What can we do better? And I think what better day than a Bakewell Pudding Day to do that?
Yeah, absolutely. I understand you're having a very large pudding made?
Yes, apparently so. I'm not sure how that's going to go down or how well that will work. But yeah, we're making an extremely large Bakewell pudding to cut into. I'm not sure if I'll have to adapt the recipe either because I don't know how that'll bake, but we'll see.
Yeah.
I like a challenge.
Let's watch
the
this
bakers
space,
do. Yes.